Hello there friends, my name is Anakin Sinclair. Now I'm going to be doing a video today talking about the Galactic Cafe that is currently the pop-up event at Melbourne Museum. We were absolutely, entirely, utterly, wonderfully and incredibly blessed to be invited to the launch of it, which was on the 6th, and today is the 7th when I'm filming this, and is the day that it's open to the public, and I'm very, very excited for everybody to get to see it, because we had an absolute blast. I will interspace some lovely pictures and video that we talk here, and I'm going to start with the atmosphere of the cafe. Now, you are down by the Lego experience, the Lego Star Wars experience. You really must go and do one at the same time, because that is also very cool, particularly if you've got children. If you've got children and they're into Star Wars or Lego or both, they will have an absolute blast of a time. There is so much stuff, there's so many little things that they can build and fun, you know, photo drops that you can take and then post them on their 18th birthday to embarrass them in front of their friends. What more as a parent could you ask for? Seriously here. But back to the cafe. Now, the difference between it and the House Inn is that obviously the House Inn had characters and that kind of immersion, whereas this you have got the big space windows. Now, they almost look like they're made by Atmos, which I don't know if they are, but they are, you know, these beautiful windows that are, I don't know if they're screens or they're back projected or how they do the technology, or if you're really in space. It's beyond my area of expertise. They have, you know, scenes that go past as if you are on a Carillion Star Cruiser, and you'll get to see things, you know, go past the asteroid fields and various Star Wars ships, which are very, very cool. I was keeping an eye out for the House Inn. If anyone sees it, tell me. I don't know if it's there, but if it is, let me know. Then occasionally you'll see them go into hyperspace, and I will put a video here. You'll still be able to hear my voice though. You're welcome. Where it goes into hyperspace, and that is so cool. If you get to sit now, in terms of the cafe, you've got very much. It's almost a bit like Dex's Diner on Coruscant, where you've got that 1950s Americana vibes. You've got the booth seating, you know, with the gorgeous leather couches and things. Now, there are tables that are set by these two windows that are those booths. I don't know that you will have the best view from there. To be honest, where we were sat in the middle, or even really, I think the best seating is probably the high top table, sort of bar seat at the back or at the front of the cafe, really, if you're thinking in terms of space, because you're high up, which means you'll be able to get, you know, photos with those windows in the back without somebody, you know, else being in the background. Whereas if you're sat at the booth seating, I don't know that you'll be able to have the greatest view of the whole window. You'll just have your section, which is a comment people have with regards to Space 220 and Epcot, which highly recommend you sit at the bar seating. Wonderful. They're only for 21 and older. You also have these very cool life-size Stormtrooper. I said there weren't any characters, but there are these life-size Stormtrooper, I suppose they're like statues, which are very cool for photos. One in particular, we took some pretty neat photos, if I do say so myself. You've also got the main bar where they do all the drinks, and their drinks are very good. We'll get on to that. Talking about the environment, it's very cool. It very, very much is. It does look like they put Dex's Diner on a Star Cruiser, and I'm here for it. I thought it was brilliant. Now, on to the food. If anybody has been to a themed cafe before, what is the uniting feature of a themed cafe? Correct, it's usually that the food's rubbish. Unfortunately, these places will usually just have style over substance. You'll have a very Instagrammable plate. It'll taste pretty bad, usually. The Galactic Cafe? No. Oh, no. They said, look, themed cafes, you want something beautiful for the Instagram, you want something that's gorgeous and stylish. We're also going to make it taste good, because you are going to a cafe and you're paying for food, you still want the food to taste good. It is excellent. Now, we both had the vegetarian option because we are world's worst vegetarians, but we try, and whenever we go to places like this, we always try and have the vegetarian option. Because for me, that is the marker of how good a cafe or a restaurant is. Now, I'm a restaurant snob. I don't know if that came across, but I am a little bit. What I find is that a lot of places can cook meat reasonably well, and that it'll still taste good because it's meat. So as long as you've got a high enough quality of meat, it's going to taste good. However, the vegetarian option, making something vegetarian, even vegan, which I believe this was vegan, tastes good, not as easy. Oh my goodness, if I had some very bad veggie burgers in the past. Versus this, lovely texture, properly seasoned, had a gorgeous, I don't know if it was a mango chutney, but it tasted like a mango chutney. It was a very sweet, like fruity chutney on the burger. Paired excellently with it, had a very fresh slaw. The burger was bright green, it was akin to a pretty patty, and it was great. It was not stale. How many times have I been to a themed cafe and the bread is always stale? This was not, and 10 out of 10, excellent. I almost hope that when the experience of this is done, they just lift this and put it maybe in the California park, because that's the one we're closest to now, though I will fly to Florida for it. Disney, you will not be listening, but if you do bring the halcyon back, I will fly to Orlando for it. I'd fly to the moon for it. If you put it in space, I promise I will go, as will very many other people, because we would like it back. That's a side point to the food. We also had the, I believe they were called like asteroid field, gorgeous, like crinkle cut sweet potato fries with sour cream and also a guacamole type sauce. I usually do not like guacamole. I do not think it tastes good, but I thought I'm going to try it. We're here, and this was actually very nice. It tasted more just like a savoury sauce rather than when things taste just like avocado and don't have any seasoning. This had seasoning, loved it. And sour cream tastes like sour cream. I could eat it by the bucket load. I very much enjoy sour cream. They were great. They were very well cooked. They were crispy but also soft on the inside. You know, sometimes you get sweet potato fries or wedges and they're kind of tough or a little bit undercooked. These were excellent. 10 out of 10, would eat them again. Now, if you thought, gee, Anakin, you look like a dessert girly, I am. You are correct, and they have two, and I can't decide between them which is better. They had the Death Star by chocolate and the chewy cookie. Here they are on the screen. The Death Star by chocolate is not a hyperbole. It is very decadent in the most wonderful way. It is a chocolate mousse, and you've got these little things of cake and, you know, crunchy chocolate pieces. Oh my word, I'm thinking about it now and I wish I could eat it. Space calories do not count, so this has the appropriate amount of sweetness you'd want in a mousse, in a decadent mousse that is still quite light. So it is not verging into the territory of becoming like a truffle or something where the texture is a little bit off. No, gorgeous, silky, smooth, loved it. Though the chewy cookie stirred my heart. Not only did it steal my heart, it's an excellent gingerbread. It is probably the finest gingerbread I've had outside of Germany. I like a soft gingerbread. I do not like hard gingerbread. Unless you're dipping it in coffee, in which case a thinner, crispier gingerbread I'm okay with if we're dipping it in coffee. But if you're having it just as a dessert, soft gingerbread all the way, baby. And this is delightful. It's got this lovely little chocolate bandolier on it. 10 out of 10. I wish we lived nearer to Melbourne. I'd go and get, I should have got a bunch of them really, but I didn't. Since it was the launch event, it was, you were provided these, so I couldn't exactly be like, hey, could I buy about 12 of these to take home? I'm sure they will let you now that it's open though. I didn't ask, I should have done. Overall, is it worthwhile going to the only immersive themed cafe to Star Wars outside of the Disney parks anywhere in the world? If I live in Australia, yes. If I live elsewhere in the world, that really depends, because if you live in America and you'll have Ogre's Cantina, you'll have oh gosh, what's the other, Docking Bay 7 and Ronto Roasters. To be honest, the food at this cafe, now I've eaten at Docking Bay 7, I've eaten at Ronto Roasters, and I have eaten at Ogre's. Honestly, the food here was probably better, but it is a cafe, it's meant to have good food, so I don't know. Maybe. If you're coming to Melbourne or you're planning a Melbourne trip, maybe make it sooner rather than later, because then you'll get to go to this. It's quite fun. It's very cute. Whether you've got kids or not, honestly, if you've got children, you should definitely take them. They'd love it. I'd have gone absolutely wild for this when I was a child, and especially because then you can go and do the Lego thing. But even if you don't, it's excellent. It's very well balanced. What they've done is quite exceptional. The fact that this is in a museum. This is not a custom built space for an immersive cafe. Yet what they have done with it is really, really well done. It really does utilise the space that it's in well. Short of having a custom built warehouse that is fully decked out with all of the stuff that you need to be the Halcyon, this is exceptional. They've done a good job of it. By Jove, lads, you've done a good job. Having said that, if they did want to open a warehouse that's fully decked out to be the Halcyon in Australia, I will be there and I will live there and I will be very, very happy. So overall, what are my thoughts on the Galactic Cafe? Should you go? Yes. Yes, you should. It's excellent. It's excellent. I thought that the pricing was very fair. I think that the theming that they've done is brilliant, whilst also still being a very good cafe. That is the one thing that sometimes themed cafes will do, is they will focus so heavily on IP, on the experience, that they will forget that at its core it is a cafe, the food is meant to be good. Not here. I also really liked that the gentleman that they had from Disney who was speaking about it mentioned that the kids menu has been designed in keeping with Disney's sort of healthy eating for children, their policies and things. And I was very happy to hear that, because I think that's important. I think that nutrition and balanced meals, particularly with my background, is very, very important. I was really glad to see that, but that also they were still making it fun. That was brilliant. I really did appreciate that, actually. I think if I was a parent, then I would value that. I think that's important. So that will be my recommendation. I think you should go. You will have to book in advance. If I can put a link, I will. If not, it's just type in Melbourne Museum Galactic Cafe. It'll come up, and there should be a link on the website to book it. If not, there at least is the menus on there, so you can go check them out. Or I can just put them here, can't I? I don't think they'll mind. Ooh, the menu. The drinks are excellent. I believe that all of them are non-alcoholic, which I appreciated. That more places should do that. To have good non-alcoholic drinks. You don't see that everywhere, and they're very nice. I'm pretty sure that they're freshly made. They didn't taste pre-mixed. They tasted very fresh. So, the summary of the summary. Should you go? Yes. When should you go? As soon as you can. Should you book? Yes, you absolutely must, because don't turn up and then not be able to go, because that would be a little bit heartbreaking, and I would feel very upset for you, because I'd be very upset if that happened to me. And finally, the final point, it was great to have a little bit of the Star Cruiser back.